All right. Hallelujah. We are here. We got the fan favorite, Mikey Jenny from Candid Truth. So many of you guys tuning in specifically to see him.
Hey, man. So good to be on Founded Earth Brothers with my brother, Josh.
Yeah.
I've been getting to see you lately. It's been awesome, man. Getting to go to some meetups. And if you guys missed out on the meetup, you really missed out. So keep an eye out on the next one. You got to have more than once a year, man.
I know. We'll try to go at least twice a year. This last one was a big blessing. We had the Somer family, Callie and Nate Somers, through us, along with some others. There were some key figures, Sky being one of them, that really just made it spectacular, went out of their way. I'm still humbled to think that they did all of that for all of us. You know, the great meal that was prepared. It was a baby shower and biblical earth meetup combination. And so it was something unique. I think one of a kind, never been
definitely
historic yet. Never,
for the first time ever. Baby shower, flat earth meetup.
We didn't know what to do. We're like, what do we do? Is it the shower portion? What do we do? This is never been done before, but it was beautiful. And I'm glad the mothers need to be in the spotlight.
That's right.
You know, it can't be all about us. They go through so much. Having the children, and our young little daughter will be here, or not young, hasn't been born yet. Daughter will be here soon. We don't know. We just went to the doctor the other day, and they're like, she's measuring at around 7 pounds, and we still have, you know, until July 10th was the original date. So my goodness, you know, she may be ready to come out at any point. We don't know. So father's timing, we're hoping all goes well, and my wife is okay.
Yeah, I didn't know she still had about a month. I mean, I thought she was going to have the baby there at the baby shower.
Yeah. She grows big children. When we saw the ultrasound, I was like, oh my goodness, she's put on, you can see in her little face, she's put on some weight since the last one. So yeah, our son that was just our last son, who's now about to be 3, he was about 9 pounds. So
wow,
amazing,
big and healthy.
Yeah. Are we going to vaccinate the baby? Someone said no, we're not. Oh, look, I accidentally said that word. I didn't mean to say that word. I'm going to go ahead and say safe and effective just so we don't get flagged.
That's right.
Here we go. But,
for education purposes only, and entertainment purposes.
Got to say all the right words nowadays on YouTube. You got to be careful. Somebody said in the comments when we were having trouble.
This whole show's satire, by the way.
Yeah. They said you got to be not so transparent with your thumbnails. I'm like, I know. I forget. You have to do what I used to do in the old days.
Add mystery or something?
Yeah, I used to try to pretend to be a debunker in the thumbnails and in like, you know, be tricky in ways that I put things out there, and it worked.
How'd you do that? Like saying proving the Earth's a globe, and it's like, just kidding.
I think one that took off in the early days was Flat Earther finds the curve, and the thumbnail looked like it was making fun of flat earthers. And oh my goodness, it was epic.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wait a minute, this isn't what I thought. I was going to come here to laugh.
You tricked me, flat earther. Flurfer.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about some dark things today that the world is doing. I don't like, you know, putting too much of a spotlight on the darkness, but it's really we forget we're in spiritual warfare until we see some of the things we're seeing. And I think it was 3 weeks ago or so, some of our friends sent us the trailer to the video that we're going to be talking about today. And last time Mikey was on here, we were talking about the agenda, the alien agenda that's been just rampant in the news. They're interviewing people, and then it's, you know, there's whistleblowers, there's Congress talking about it, but then it started taking a dark spiritual turn where they're going, you know, it's a spiritual, they're not aliens, it's spiritual, they're good, they're friends, you know. It's like it's getting weird. It's a path I didn't see. I kind of saw the Independence Day movie type of scenario, because I'm
feeling God when I'm around the ship and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's taken a turn that I didn't see. So I thought it was important we talk about what we did last time, and this time it's important because children, when they watch movies, I speak from experience. I remember my childhood going to movies, and what do you do when you're running out of the movie theater? You're reenacting what you just saw. You know, I vividly remember coming out of the Ninja Turtles movie, and me and my brother were like, you know, back to back, we're like fighting. You know, like we thought we were going to fight some foot soldiers. You know, like you really do start mimicking what you see. And so the Hollywood scenario really does get us to start acting certain ways without realizing we're mimicking what we've seen. And children are the largest consumers of social media. Teenagers and toddlers, I would say hands down, consume far more social media, and it's alarming when you see what you're about to see. And so Mikey has a presentation. We started a little late because the audio was an issue, but I think we could still wing it and make sure, maybe it'll upload. I don't know. We were trying to upload online. And
it'll still be an issue. The audio will be a little quiet, but we're going to just fight through it. But I like where you're going, kind of setting the stage for what's the danger in movies. Because in the Christian world, they think, hey, man, I know the difference in reality and fiction. Like, this is just a movie. Like, it's not going to change my beliefs or anything. But for one thing, think about the scripture that says, I will set no wicked thing before my eyes. I hate the work of those who turn away. And how can we sit there and watch a movie that's glorifying witchcraft or adultery or violence and murder? I mean, I've seen Christians, like I go to these big Christian conventions and stuff, and I see kids 13, 14 years old with a Deadpool logo on their shirt. And I'm like, dude, this isn't even like Wolverine or something. Deadpool is like the most debauchery of them all, or just like open profane and all that stuff. And what you were just talking about, acting it out and all that stuff, that you're talking about mirror neurons. When you watch things, so what Jesus said was to look upon a woman with lust is the same as committing adultery. He's telling you sin starts in the heart. So to be tempted by something is not a sin. He was tempted in the wilderness, but he didn't act upon those temptations. But when you dwell on things and when you're entertained by things, Romans 1:32 says, knowing the judgment of God, that those who do such wicked things are worthy of death, but not only those that do them, but those that take pleasure in them that do them. So you might say, look, I would never, ever do witchcraft. I know it's a sin. I'm a Christian. I'm not a witch. But then you're watching Harry Potter. Are you taking pleasure in the sin? Yeah. You're vicariously, you're watching it. I love this movie. I love Harry Potter. Or maybe you say, I'm not a homosexual, but I'm an ally or something, like I go to the parades to support and all that stuff. That's the same thing. It's like you're supporting sin in whatever way it is. And so the scriptures say, if you take pleasure in those things, you are worthy of death, just like you did them, because you're literally being entertained by wickedness. The mirror neuron stuff, there was a couple studies done that actually prove what Yeshua said about sin being something that starts in the mind, is that they put this guy into like an MRI or a CT scan or something, and they were showing him faces. Like they'd flash a face and it'd go away. They flash another face. And they told him, they said, when you see the face, imitate the face with your face. And so he would like stick out his tongue or smile real big or whatever. And then they put him, and they were scanning his brain, how it would fire off. They put him back in the machine. They said, this time the same faces, don't move a muscle. And he was in there, and they were watching his brain fire off exactly the same way as when he was doing the face.
Wow.
And there was a study with these monkeys where they would, a scientist would come in, and there would be this, they had electrodes on the monkey's brain. And whenever the monkey would get a peanut, the brain would just fire off. It sounded like a Geiger meter or something. And one day, this was complete fluke accident. The electrodes were on the monkey's brain. They weren't really doing the study, but the scientist came in and he picked up the bag of peanuts, and that monkey's brain started going off. He wasn't eating the peanut. He saw the scientist picking up the peanut, and he was getting the same release or whatever was happening.
Wow.
And so we see that, and why it's important is because when kids are developing, they're learning, they're sponges. And so when they see, this hurts mommy and she cries when I do this or whatever, they're learning. It's the mirror neurons. Monkey see, monkey do is what they say. And so they watch you, do things that stay away from danger or whatever. They're learning from you. And this is why it's important. But Satan is hijacking that. And so he's got this whole system called Hollywood, which is the wand, the wood that witch's wand is made out of, that lulls people to sleep. Holly berries, they lull you to sleep. And so this message is being broadcast, casting its spell over all of humanity. and we just see, why do people talk the way they do? Why do people dress the way they do? Why do, it's because all these American idols are setting these trends, and you can just watch and see how humanity just molds to that, and they would just conform, like, and they start talking that way, dressing that way, using the products and all that stuff. So
Yeah,
media is
and
a
you
powerful
guys,
tool.
I think it was you, you and Aubrey. We were in a study, and we were talking about the narrow path, and you guys brought up, yeah, the world wants you to make it big on the broad way. Like there's
Yeah,
the narrow path,
Broadway.
and they call it Broadway, where you want to get big. And the stuff you're talking about is actually in the Bible, where you're saying, they're seeing these things, and it's just as much, influential as them doing these things. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why, we're told faith comes by hearing of the word of God. And this was on my heart the other day, because I'm thinking about, my own children, the things they're exposed to is the opposite of faith, the sin and all these things. They come from listening to the world. You have the word, the Father's words that he's telling you, but you also have the world's wisdom. And when you're being exposed to it, the opposite of faith, doubt and sin is going to happen. And that's why so many people have got lured into those dark places in life, is they were exposed to just an overload of worldly wisdom that brought them doubts. And that's what brought me doubts in my early walk, was worldly wisdom and philosophies and things like that. And so I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't hearing the word. I wasn't putting it to the test and seeing the proofs yet. And so got to hear those words. And when your children hear it, it's going to increase their faith. But if they're sitting there
Yeah.
listening to the things of this world and seeing the stuff like what we're about to show, it's not
Mm-hmm.
as innocent as it looks. It might have some
Yeah.
happy, bubbly characters, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
is they are bringing your children to a dark place with smiling, happy little creatures that are demonic when we understand the alien agenda.
Yeah. I mean, it's straight propaganda. Like, the definition of propaganda is, trying to make Hitler look like he loves children, and, putting a dove over him and all these things. Propaganda, people don't understand when you expose the message that are in these movies. They're like, man, you missed the whole point. That movie was about brotherhood or creativity or something like that. I'm like, no, that's the propaganda it was wrapped up in. That's why the public is accepting it, because they're like, oh, look at this great movie about acceptance or something like that. And subtly, the message that's in there is really an attack on God, an attack on his law, and sympathy for the devil. Over and over and over, you'll see that same message through so many pieces of entertainment. And why I think it's so important is, like I said, so many people just think that it's not going to affect me, or, well, I only watch Disney because it's safe and wholesome and it's PG or whatever. But
I grew up on that.
that's,
I'm letting
yeah,
you guys know. I grew up on Disney
yeah,
movies. I was telling Mikey before we started, we had I'm the VHS era.
yeah, the
We
clamshells.
couldn't afford the brand new Disney, rent the movies all the time. Back when there were movie stores, that used to be a thing. We
Yeah.
had, everybody had an entertainment system, which now your TVs wouldn't fit on them, but you had your TV and
Mm-hmm.
the little cabinets, and underneath the little cabinets was a couple of little containers full of Disney cartoons, all the way back to like the originals, like black and white. We had a bunch of them. I mean, we didn't have every single one, obviously, but we had a lot of them that our mom would find at yard sales and whatnot, and we grew up watching them. I did not realize the darker messages. It took years, and
Yeah.
it took watching a lot of stuff like Mikey's talking about for me to go, wow, I miss that. I miss so many different things. And
Yeah.
it's a blessing to be seeing that and coming out of that now. And I'm not condemning anyone who's been watching that now. I just want you to know, look at the messages, look at them,
Yeah.
and pray about it. Pray for discernment, because there's some things that really can fully get your children into witchcraft. And then there's books about it in the stores straight from Disney. They're even just
Yeah.
Disney Channel. When we don't have cable, but you go on vacation, you can see it pops up, and it's like a witchcraft show, a zombie show, a vampire show, and it's like targeting children with these things, and it's really dark.
I'm gonna grab a book you just
Oh yeah, the
reminded
book.
me. Well, not that book.
Oh, different book.
We'll talk
He's
about
running
that
out
book
of the
too.
other books.
Yeah, I just ordered another set, so we're gonna talk about a book because I don't. The Christians are silent on this issue. Satan is like putting out propaganda left and right, millions of dollars, and the colorful animation. And it's like, where are the Christians? talking against witchcraft or aliens or ghosts. Casper the Friendly Ghost, he's your friend,
Yes.
and My Pet Dragon, and Elmo, he's a monster, and they're your friends, and all this stuff. But you never see it. I have not found one Christian book that says, you know what, we should actually test every spirit, and these things are not your friends. But on the topic of what you were just talking about witchcraft, I found these at Goodwill or something. One was actually in one of those free library boxes that you see, and this right here, the Descendants, with the apple
Oh,
and the
wow.
snake wrapped around the apple taken out of it. And what they do is they make these, and this thing has been rained on and everything, but they make these evil characters that are based off of villains. They make them heroes, and they say stuff like, "Oh, it's good to be bad," and they make bad look so good and all this stuff. Here's another version. It's more of an animated one. In the back here, it says, "Your wicked world wish is granted." I mean, it's so
Wow.
crazy how dark it really is. The whole story is just talking about they're singing a song like, "Oh, it's so bad to be good and it's good to be bad." I mean, think about the Bible verse. Those who say good is bad and bad is good. I have not showed this. I've been trying to figure out a way to like do something on this. That's why I've kept this. And I don't even want this in my house, man. I'm thinking like, what is this opening up? But I wanted to expose it. Maybe I'll just burn it on here and on the live.
Yeah.
But it says like, call it bad, call it good, call it even if you could, call it even if you could, bad and good or even, call it good, call it bad. It's the best you ever had. And it's the bad people and the good people singing together, and they're saying, it's even, we're the same. It's like, give me more of bad is the new good, bad is the new good. Bad
Wow.
is the new good. That's what this is saying. Bad is the new good, bad is the new good. We can feel it. What is this teaching children, man? This
Yeah.
is disgusting. It makes my skin crawl. It makes me want to vomit when I see, because I'll talk about this, and no doubt it'll always happen in the comments. People say, man, it's a kid's movie. I used to say the same thing as a Christian, a new Christian. I would see who I thought was some religious zealot legalist calling out Harry Potter. And I was like, dude, it's a kid's book. Like, let them imagine. And now I'm like, yeah, it's a kid's book. Like, why would you put that in a kid's? To me, that is so much worse. Adults know what they're getting themselves into, unless it's really disguised. But when they go to a rated R movie, they know they're going to see something they shouldn't watch. Kids sitting in front of cartoons or reading innocent books, supposedly innocent books, that makes it all the more worse when you're talking about satanic messages in children's books. So don't just say, come on, man, it's a kid's book. Say, yeah, I can't believe they're putting this in a kid's book. That's the way you should look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter was wanting to go look at dolls the other day, and we went down the toy aisle, and it was like My
Monster
Life
High.
dolls. And it's like witchcraft play sets. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. My Life. I think that's what it was called. They have these different ones, and that was the one, and it was the Harry Potter edition. And it's like, here's your witch's brew, here's your witchcraft stuff. And I'm like, and it's like they had like a little voodoo looking doll. I'm like, and that's what the girls are going to go get to play house with, a witchcraft set. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
what world are we living in where witchcraft is like what your children now play when they're playing with their little dolls,
Yeah, look at this on
Came
the
about
back
very
here.
fast. I'll only put that at solo layout. Let me see.
What does it say?
Bad apple.
It says the spellbinding prequel. I mean, it tells you right there. And then
Good
right
gracious.
here, look right there. It says Mal's spell book. I don't know if you can see it, but this one with the Ouroboros dragon biting its own tail, it says Mal's spell book. Get Mal's spell book for your kids today by Disney.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen at a it's back in the day when we did Christmas. It was a Christmas gathering, and it was a Disney book, but it was like a witchcraft book. And I was like, somebody was getting it as a gift, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my goodness, like it's actually telling you about these things right there in the book for children. It was a children's book, similar to the ones you're seeing. Might have even been one of the same types.
Are you able to see the chat? I can't see the chat, but I hope people are being blessed by this and having their eyes open and really thinking like, yeah, I need to get rid of that movie, or we should definitely be careful what we're watching from here on out, because I'm telling you, it's not just in the outward Deadpool stuff. It's in the stuff that you don't expect it to be in. That's why I just don't trust anything that comes out anymore. I can't even think of like a new movie that I'm interested in and at all, or want to see. Like I was telling Josh behind stage,
Yeah.
I got excited when the Mario movie came out. I was like, oh man, I hope there's no agenda. And I watched the commercial and I'm like, okay, I didn't really see anything in it. And then this was back when I was working at Little Light. One of the guys decided to do something on it, and I couldn't believe it. It's Bowser. Okay, this is the propaganda. Bowser. Oh, he's the dragon. He's the bad guy,
no.
right? But that's just the facade. That's the propaganda part. You think, oh, that's good. The dragon's bad, right? But look at, like, close your eyes and look at the character of who he is. He's a king whose kingdom is above the stars, and his kingdom is coming down with lightning, and he's on clouds, and he's coming to get his princess bride. That's who he's coming to get.
Oh my goodness.
But she doesn't want to go. Princess Peach doesn't want to go. So Mario and all of them, they're trying to fight him to keep him from getting his princess bride. But Bowser wants to take his princess bride and destroy the rest in a lake of fire.
Oh my goodness. You just ruined Mario for me. No.
So that's the thing. You have to look at the character. You can't just look at, oh, he looks scary, so he's the bad guy. That's proper, right? Bad guy, scary. No. Look at the character, Thanos from Marvel Endgame and all that stuff. Yeah, he looks like a purple alien, but he's sitting on a throne in a spaceship called the Sanctuary up in the heavens, and he's coming down to snap his fingers and destroy half of humanity, separating the sheep from the goats. That's Christ. And what do? All the mutants and all the superheroes who are based off of, they're either mutants or they're based off of Greek and Roman gods. I'm not making this up. Those artists tell you themselves. They're going to band together. We got to set aside our differences and come together, because this is like us versus, the one who's going to kill us all. And so that's what Revelation says, that 3 unclean spirits like frogs are going to unite the militaries of the world to fight against the coming of Christ. All this is propaganda pushing towards that event. If we truly believe in Bible prophecy, the world is going to gather together, set aside our differences, unite in a United Nations, and have Space Force with weapons pointed towards the heavens, a golden dome over us to protect us from threats from space and all this stuff. We are preparing to fight Christ. And so many movies have this plot in there. It's an asteroid. It's a UFO. It's something out there that's coming to Earth. We need to come together and fight and save Earth. The Bible nowhere says, as Christians, we need to save Earth from some outside threat. It's the complete opposite. As Christians, we need to be embracing who's coming from outside, because if you're not, then you're going to be destroyed.
But what about the Golden Dome, though? We're going to be safe now, right?
That's right. Protect us, bro.
Going to protect us in a few years' time, they say. Yeah. We're going to be protected from a threat from above, almost like they're trying to get the kings of the earth.
Yep.
The war against the threat from above.
It's amazing how close we are, man.
Yeah, I can feel how close we are. It's like, yep, now they're doing what we have been trying to warn people they're doing. And I know it's not a popular belief. When you believe that they're trying to bring about the war against the Most High, which is going to happen, like they're going to try and fail. That's what they're doing. And the propaganda, I haven't even seen. I mean, I've watched the little trailer for the movie we're going to talk about. It's called Elio, which
technically it's Elio is how they say his name in the movie, but we're going to see why Elio is closer to the truth.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it was interesting. I would have never looked into it if somebody hadn't. It was Dennis and Debbie. They sent that to me, emailed it to me, and I was like, I've got to share this with Mikey right away. I didn't know you'd already look into it, and I was like,
so there's the nice 25-minute intro to the show here, to the presentation.
Yeah. Is it ready to pull up? Did it ever load the cloud thing?
It still just says uploading, so we're just gonna have to.
So
whenever I play a video, we'll unplug my headphones, play the speaker through the microphone. I hope you guys can hear it enough.
Yeah. You mean to go ahead and pull up the presentation so I can see?
Yeah.
The movie. There's the cover of the
look how cute it is. Oh. What do you think about? What are you seeing on the cover here?
I just like it's so glowing, and it's like, look at this warrior over here, you know, the one eye patch
Mm,
guy.
yeah.
And you got the old glowworm looking creature at the bottom with its tongue hanging out. He's just a big dumb animal, but there
Yeah,
is
it's cute.
threat from above lingering over
Mm,
um, the name Elio and Elio. Like I'm sure you're
yeah.
going to find out what that means in your presentation because I didn't know. I looked it up, and of course, it tells you
Yeah.
exactly what that name is.
Look at his shirt.
It's got the demon alien gray right there in the
Yeah.
middle.
So I think this is the first time I've ever seen the realistic alien gray that everyone talks about when they've been abducted on a cartoon. Usually they look more like the ones that you see all around him, some kind of more fantasy, pink tentacle monster. But now they're starting to get children familiarized with that face. Like, oh, he's wearing it on his t-shirt the whole time.
The whole movie. Wow. Interesting.
So this is the cute little Disney Pixar movie, and there's a lot of symbolism in here. And I know some people would try to get like, well, symbols, blah blah blah. I'm not going to make a whole point on symbols. I'm building the evidence. I can't say, "Yep, look how satanic it is. He's got that one eye covered, case closed, boom." No,
Yeah.
maybe he lost the eye during the movie or something. What I'm saying is, when you look at all the puzzle pieces and it all, the case builds and builds and builds, you can't deny the stuff in here. Symbols have been in so many kids movies. I just seen my brother-in-law sent me a video clip from, what was that one called, Elemental, and I already knew that was elemental witchcraft. It's based off of fire and water, and the whole movie is, you can't, elements can't mix. You can't blend fire and water. And so, the fire people stay away from water people and all that. And they try to spin it. It's all about racism and all this stuff. And we need to come together. So in the movie, the fire girl falls in love with the water boy, and elements can mix. And nothing happens if we had all these rules saying that we couldn't mix elements. Well, what is elemental witchcraft about? Earth, wind, fire, water. That's what the whole movie is about. And you see it in Frozen. Elsa literally says she's trying to get the earth spirit and the water spirit and the fire spirit. Pocahontas, she's talking about the wind and the moon and the wind and the sun and all that stuff. She sings a song. That if you know what earth, wind, fire, water is, Captain Planet.
Yeah.
It was all, that's elemental witchcraft. And so in that movie, Elemental, that was the most obvious thing that stuck out to me was, okay, it's elemental witchcraft. They're saying break the rules because the rules don't matter and we need to blend together and all that. But there was a scene, the video wasn't even exposing this. The video is just using it as some kind of look at this romantic scene, and it shows the fire and the water girl, or the fire girl and the water boy, and they're standing on a hexagram, a 6-pointed star. And I'm like,
Oh my goodness.
I couldn't believe it. Whoa,
That's
dude.
crazy.
You caught this?
Yeah, I was looking at the trailer again before we came on, and you were talking about in one of your videos that you did a real good breakdown of this. I got it I believe it's in the description of this video that you're watching now. But you were talking about him doing like witchcraft and sitting in a little circle, and I noticed there were little crystals around him in a circle. And I don't get too deep into witchcraft. I try to stay, surface level with some of these things. I understand the spiritual warfare aspect, but I realized they actually did that. They made circles with crystals in witchcraft. Like they literally have sets you can that they sell to people where you can get these crystals, and it tells you like WikiHow, like to set these things up. Like there's like instructions of like, here's how you set up the circle, and they try to make it just look very peaceful and animated. But that's what he's got. He's got the same crystals they use. They're always trying to mimic, like, the Most High, when he was building the temple, there were certain stones. Well, they have certain crystals they use in their ceremonies. And he has about the right amount. When I was looking, I think it's like 19 little crystals, and he's got about that. And of course, the aliens on the refrigerator, he's got them, or whatever that is behind him. It's painted on there. Part of the NASA logo, the serpent tongue part, like.
Oh, dude, you were what you just caught right here, I didn't have in there at all. And I'm definitely going to include this because right when you pull this up, I was like, dude, there's crystals all around. I saw this little scene and I didn't even see the crystals, man. And so he's using right here. What he's doing is he's trying to communicate with the aliens, and he's using crystals. That's exactly what the New Age do. They use crystals because they think there's frequencies that can come through them, and that you can communicate with the spirit world through crystals. And dude, I'm mind blown, man. That's so I'm glad you got to show that to your audience, because that just adds so much more to this. So we'll look at his name, because people ask all the time, well, do you guys just sit around and watch these movies and break it all down? No, I'm advocating don't watch it. I'm saying boycott this like the plague. What you can do is when you watch, because we all need to use discernment, and Christianity has lost discernment altogether, but we need to watch the trailer and watch it with a biblical lens. Who does this hero represent? Who does the bad guy represent? Are they glorified? How are they defeating the villain? Because maybe there is a witch, but she's the bad guy, right? Well, how's the person defeating the witch? With witchcraft, usually. So it's like, it's like, oh no, the bad guy was the witch, but you know, Harry Potter used witchcraft to overcome the good. It's good witch, right? Good witchcraft. There's no such thing. So what I did with this, I watched the trailer. I used wiki fandom or whatever. What's the person's name? What are their character traits? I mean, they give you all kinds of stuff. Like, this is what they do in the movie. This is some fun trivia about it. And his name is Elio Solless. So, and notice he's called the intergalactic ambassador of planet Earth. We're going to talk about that too. But right here was in the trivia section at the very bottom, and it says both his name Elio and his surname Solless mean sun. So his name in English is literally sun.
Oh, wow.
And then they mention, you know, that he's wearing the eye patch, and nobody knows why he's got the eye patch. So a lot of people are saying Disney did a poor job at promoting this movie, that it's not going to do well, because I hope not.
Yeah.
But when you actually search, what does Elio mean? It means sun, and it's derived from the Greek god Helios. So it doesn't just mean sun. We're talking about a Greek god, the sun god. Satan has been trying to get people to worship the sun since the beginning of time. The Egyptians and all those people. And here we are today. We think all this stuff is gone. Oh yeah, who would ever worship the sun? Who would worship an idol? And that's pagan stuff. That's all long gone ago. And now a kid's movie, the hero, he's based off of the sun god, the Greek sun god. His last name, Solless, means sun, and it also can also mean Sunday, ironically. So here's, you know, a baby website saying that the word Elio means, the name Elio means sun, based off of Helios. I'm just using more than one source to prove that it's not just a one-off. Today's show was talking about, for the solar eclipse, what are some fun sun names based off the sun? And Elio means Helios, another Greek sun god. Solless means solar. Or when you use the Google translator in Latin, it means Sunday, which
Sun
I think
God
is
Sunday. Wow. Put those two together.
that's his name.
Jeez.
His name is Sun God Sunday.
Wow.
And what is Satan
Straight
trying to
out of
push? Sun worship and Sunday as a holy day.
Yeah. Made it a law in the Holy Roman Empire.
That's right. And I believe it's going to happen again. The one world religion will be everything must shut down on Sunday, just like back in the day, Constantine, because we already see it happening. They got the Sunday blue laws. They got, you know, it's the only day that the government shuts down, the DMV shut down, the mail doesn't run. So it's a no-brainer. Like, if we're going to pick a day to rest because we need to help the climate change, the environment, and COVID and all these things, what day would we use? I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's going to be Sunday, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Things that make the dragon angry, keeping the commandments and having the testimony. Well,
that's
change
right.
those commandments. That's what they would do. If I was the dragon, what would I do? All right, can't keep the commandments.
Dude, you know, I'm still seeing stuff for the first time. Look at the eye. I noticed the little logo on top of the eye, but I didn't. That's the sun with, I guess, Earth orbit going around it.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't see that.
It's
like I said, symbolism is, you know, but the fact that he has one eye only adds credibility to the fact that his name means sun god, and the one eye symbolism is representing Ra, the sun god. So everything about him this is the sun god. Helios, Solless, one eye symbolism. Nobody knows why he's got this eye patch, because in certain scenes he has both of his eyes. So it's not just like, oh, we're just trying to use representation. We want to put, a disabled person in there or something, which they could use that excuse. But
Yeah.
the fact is he has two eyes in the trailer, and then all of a sudden he's wearing this eye patch through the whole movie, and we don't know why. So notice it says that he's the ambassador of planet Earth. Biblically, who's the ambassador of planet Earth?
Wow, you got the Messiah going to the Father on our behalf, and here you've got the sun god boy.
Well, I would argue that Satan's actually the god of this world, that when the keys of this world were given to Adam, he's supposed to have dominion over the earth, but then Adam and Eve turned their backs on God and handed the keys over to Satan. So Satan has become the ambassador of earth. He's the god of this world. Multiple times you'll see, I don't know if the scriptures come up right here or not. Yeah. So in John 14:30, it says, I will no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he has nothing in me. This is Jesus. I think this is Jesus talking right here. And he's talking about Satan being the ruler of this world. John 12:31-33 says, now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be cast out. Ephesians 6:12 says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, in this translation, but it says the rulers of this world. So we know that Satan is controlling the rulers of this world. The rulers of this world are puppets, and Satan's the puppet master. John 16:11 says of judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. 2 Corinthians 4:4 says, in whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe not. So Satan is literally called the God of this world. I believe in Job, when Satan presents himself in heaven before God, and God's asking him, where have you been? And he's like walking up and to and fro earth. I think he was presenting himself as the ambassador. I think that was some kind of, I don't know, heavenly meeting, and Satan's like, I'm here. I'm Earth's representative. That's just, I don't know, that might be a stretch, but here we see in Matthew 4:8-9, it says, again, the devil took, this is when Satan is tempting Jesus, and it says, again, the devil took him up on an exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, all these things I will give to you if you fall and worship me. Jesus didn't say, whatever, it's all mine. You can't give it to me. It's already mine. He didn't say that. Why? Because in Luke, it says the devil, taking him on a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said to him, all this authority I will give you and their glory, for this has been delivered to me, and I give it to whomever I wish. So Satan owns this world right now. And so now here you have a superhero in a kid's movie who's going to save Earth. I'm just assuming it's always that way. I'm sure it is. And he's the sun god Helios, the sun god Ra, and he's the ambassador of Earth. This is Satan. Everything points to, and he's wearing a demon on his shirt. So
yeah, that's what somebody was saying. It was the one very similar. If you don't know the backstory to that imagery, Aleister Crowley drew the image of a demon that he said manifested, and it looked exactly like that. So yeah, that was a good. That's where we're coming from. If you're new to this topic, I know some people are probably new to this topic. Yeah, these things are demonic.
Yeah.
Abduction experiences have been documented to have been stopped, but only by people who called out to the Most High or the Beloved Son. When they call out, they stop, and they're like, we have no answer as to why, because the people that didn't do this, they were tormented for quite some time, sometimes the rest of their lives, tormented by these alleged alien abductions, which they're not. They're demonic. And so if you can stop them by calling out to that higher power, then these are spiritual powers.
That's right. People have been tormented by these things, and they always appear to New Agers, occultists. I'm not saying that it can't happen to a self-professing Christian, but that's when we need to fight spiritual warfare, because Satan is he's attacking us. He's looking for every excuse, every legal right to come into our life. That's what we have to understand, that Satan can only do what God allows him to do. And there are laws, there are rules. It's like a legal system. It's just like the old myth about the vampires. A vampire can't come in unless you open the door or the window or whatever, right? That's the way it is in the demonic world. But we have been so desensitized and have lost all discernment that we don't even realize what we are doing is dangerous. Like, oh, hey, I bought this little statue from TJ Maxx. Isn't it cute? And it's Buddha. And you have Buddha in your house now because it's trendy or something. Or, hey, I've been doing yoga lately and I just feel so great. Not to step on anyone's toes, but I care so much about you that I do not want you to be possessed or open yourself up to satanic warfare. Yoga is literally Hinduism. It's a satanic practice. Every pose is a salutation to the sun and all these things. And go to any yoga studio, you're going to see Buddha. It's all New Age. And so we're doing all these things because they're culturally accepted, and it's giving Satan access into our lives. These terrible movies, secular music, these things that we put in our home that we think are just decorative, dream catchers and things like this. Get that garbage out of your house. You're inviting demons in. And so Satan's going to try everything he can to attack you. And in that moment, you have to act. You have to fight spiritual warfare. And if you don't know what to do and you're just paralyzed by fear, then Satan's winning. So we know Satan's the God of this world, and this character, he is Satan. Satan is the hero in the movie. Oh, and this is what I was talking about him presenting himself in heaven. So if he's Satan, then who's the villain? I mean, look at the name. Isn't that crazy? Lord Grigon. He's the Lord. I mean, this happened with Star Wars too. Lord Vader, father.
Yeah.
Lord Vader, who had no earthly father. His mother was just pregnant. He was like a supernatural pregnancy. He wears this chest plate with colorful buttons on it, like the ephod, like the high priest wore. He has all his regime, or I don't know if I'm using the terminology right, but all his soldiers are in perfect white, stand in perfect order, and he runs the empire. And who are the good guys? Oh, they're the chaotic rebels.
Yeah.
Luke, which means light, like Satan, the light bearer, and all this stuff.
Skywalker.
Skywalker, the prince and the power of the air, right?
Walking to and fro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Lord Grigon is the main antagonist in the upcoming film. I just think that's a telltale sign right there. And so I looked up, well, who his occupation is Lord. Oh, isn't that interesting? Now he's not the ambassador. Yeah, he's not the ambassador of Earth. He's the galactic ambassador. He's the Lord over the whole galaxy. And I thought it was interesting. Children. He's got one son. That's the only children he has. Think about that.
Wow.
Store that memory, because that comes up. And I asked Google, because there's not a lot of information about this movie right now. So all I have is an AI overview. So AI is scanning every place out there. And I said, does Lord Grigon destroy Earth in the movie? And it says, in the upcoming Disney Pixar film, Elio, Lord Grigon, the main antagonist, is described as threatening to destroy the home of Elio and Glorden's friends. So Glorden's friend, Glorden is an alien. Yeah, so he's going to destroy the home of Elio, which is Earth. And we know when Christ returns, he's going to cleanse the earth with fire. He's going to destroy the earth. And it says, and when I say destroy, I don't want people to think it's not going to not exist anymore. He's cleansing the whole thing. Everything on it is going to be destroyed. While the exact details of his destructive intentions are not fully revealed, this suggests his plans could potentially involve Earth, since Elio is from Earth and is welcomed by the Communiverse. So the Communiverse is like, I don't know, all the inhabitants of the universe. It's a commune, a community. Lord Grigon is portrayed as a fierce and boastful alien warlord who rules the planet Hylurg. He is angry. Listen to this. He's angry about being rejected.
Wow.
From the Communiverse, and seeks to enact his wrath against the ambassadors who turned him away. I mean, this is describing Christ every moment. He's going to destroy earth because he's going to destroy those who reject him and who turned away from him, and he's coming with his wrath. He desires to become part of the communiverse. That's what he wants. Christ wants a relationship with us. He wants to become he wants to be back here in the perfect Eden restored. He wants to become part of the communiverse, believing his weaponry and their technology could make them a formidable force. But the communiverse, however, prioritizes tolerance and open-mindedness over military strength, leading to Grigon's rejection. They're rejecting the Lord of the galaxy and turning away from him because they're tolerant and open-minded.
Wow.
That's all of society today, right?
Yeah.
They reject Christianity because, oh, you're not open-minded, you're intolerant, and all these things. I just think it's so crazy,
Just
man.
have pride. Yeah.
So here's a clip. I'll unplug my headphones so you guys can hear it. We'll listen to it through the microphone. Let's see.
This is why we were delayed starting.
Blow everyone up. My friends need our help. You made a friend?
You will feel my wrath. Gordon?
Hi, Dad. I'm a bargaining chip. No, say the other thing. Oh, help me, Father. Quiet, you.
What does that unholy sound?
Okay. What did you pick up on in that clip?
Wow. His wrath, unholy sounds, or the laughter. Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow.
in the beginning, it shows his ships or whatever. There's like 3 ships shooting lasers at all the people, and they're running. They're the aliens, which are the demons. So is Christ going to come to destroy Satan and his demons? Yes. And so this Lord of the galaxy is destroying the demons, and the kid who represents Satan is saying, my friends, we need to save my friends. See, this is what Satan's doing. He's creating propaganda that makes you feel sympathy for his side. Look, I'm a sinner, but so is everyone else. And you're going to save them and not me? How fair is that? Nobody can keep your law. Everybody's broken it. And, it's all a sympathy for him. And so he's always painting a picture of Christ as being the one that's going to destroy your friends. He's going to destroy Guardians of the Galaxy. If you watch the trailer, the bad guy's in a spaceship coming to Earth, and he said, I have a sacred mission to create a perfect people. He's the bad guy. And in the commercial, you hear his voice, and it says, everything you love will be destroyed. Wow. And that's what Satan's showing you, like all your family and friends who have these lifestyles that are abominable lifestyles are going to be destroyed. But it's the truth, but it's painted in a way that makes it look evil. It's like literally quoting Christ, but just painting him as a villain. And the good guys in the Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt is sitting there like drunk at a table drinking, and they're just like this mixed bag of aliens and mutants, and they're walking through fire, and they say, wow, we're going to fight this last war. If it's the last thing, they're like, we'll die. We'll go down for this. We're going to fight this guy who wants to come and create perfection.
Jeez. Yeah. Wow. How we missed all this. I guess you don't read the Bible enough. You miss the subliminal undertones for all these things.
You have to study the truth so you won't fall for the counterfeit. And that's how a banker does it. They don't actually study what a counterfeit looks like. They just handle true bills all the time. So instantly when they touch a counterfeit, they're like, whoa, that's not right. Mm-hmm. And that's the way we need to be with God's word. Like, no, I know that villain has all the character traits of Christ, and the bad guy is like Satan. And so here he's trying to destroy the aliens. The kids call them their friends. And then he says, you will suffer my wrath. And he says, what is that unholy noise? Dude, these are not normal terms that we use. What is that unholy?
It just sounds like right out of the Bible,
Yeah. It's not a coincidence. So here's another clip I'll play.
Your life isn't out there, Elio. You need to make friends.
I just want to belong somewhere. All I ever was to find a place to fit in. So if any aliens are listening, please come and get me. Okay, bye. I love you. It's really happening. Back home, I didn't fit in. Well, I like you. It's like I was always meant to be here.
I hope I forgot to turn my microphone the other way, but
Oh, I could still hear it though.
okay, good. So he's an 11-year-old kid, and he doesn't feel like he fits in. How many 11-year-olds feel like they don't fit in? We're going through puberty. Our bodies are awkward. We don't know which clique we fit in. What's my style or whatever. And especially today, man, with social media dividing us, there's 86 genders. Well, which one am I? Kids don't know where they fit in. They don't fit in. And so you have an 11-year-old kid saying, I don't have any friends. I don't fit in. So he gets on the microphone and says, aliens, if you're out there, come get me. I love you. And if we know the truth about aliens, he's literally telling demons, I'm not accepted by Earth. Will you accept me? Satan is waiting for children to make a call like that. Like, if you're out there, reveal yourself to me, and will you accept me the way I am, or whatever. And it shows he gets abducted. He's not scared. He's happy. It's really happening. Yay. He's going up into the ship. And then the demon alien is the one that when he says, I used to think that it was, the Earth was the problem, but maybe it's just me. And he's like, well, I like you just the way you are.
Yep. Wow.
And he's a creepy looking thing. He's this maggot with teeth all the way through him, but they make him look so cute somehow.
Yeah. He's the son of the other one too. Like he was at his right hand with
That's right.
Man.
So think about that, because Gnosticism is in these movies all the time, and they always make, so think about Wreck-It Ralph. Ralph was the bad guy who was which Ralph means wolf, by the way.
Oh,
Ralph was cast out of Niceville, or whatever it's called. What is it called? Niceland. He was cast out of Niceland by the good guy carpenter, Christ. But in the movie, King Candy is the bad guy. He's the villain that actually attacks the whole game with plagues, like locusts and swarms of
wow,
insects are coming. Yeah. And who teams up against him? Ralph, who's Satan, and the good guy carpenter. So you'll see a lot of these movies where the good guy might have character traits of Christ, which sounds good, like, oh, cool, like Superman, like, oh, Superman has all these like parallels to Christ, but is his mission like Christ? If Superman is not trying to save the world from their sin, and he's actually shacking up with Lois and stuff, doing all these things that Christ would never do, then he's an antichrist, because he looks so much like Christ, but he's not Christ. And same with Fix It Felix, which Felix means something holy too. I can't remember. A lot of popes and stuff are named Felix, but he actually teams up with Satan to fight the King Candy. So in this movie, this alien here is the son of the Lord of the galaxy. And you'll see in that clip, that's what I forgot to show you. In the clip where he was tickling him, he was laughing. He said, "Hi, Dad." He's talking to the Lord guy, and he says, "I'm a bargaining chip." And he goes, "Don't say that. Say the other thing." Was Christ a bargaining chip for us?
Oh, wow.
We were the ones that deserved death, right? But he was our ransom. And so they're putting all these clues in there. It's so crazy, man.
That's crazy.
So I don't really know how to really spin that but the thing is it's proving that the villain is God, is the Father, because his son is his only son is the bargaining chip for humanity, for Earth.
Yeah.
So I asked, is it common for preteens to feel like they don't fit in? And yes, it's very common. I think that's pretty common knowledge, but I just wanted to show this. I wanted to see if it's like more on the rise, which it is. There's been all kinds of studies 100%. That show that kids today are less social and all that stuff, not having real friendships. But yeah. So here's another clip. I'll play it.
I'm trying to get abducted by aliens. Okay, come and get me.
All right. So knowing what we know, who aliens are, what aliens are, this kid says, I don't fit in. I don't want to be on Earth. and he lays down in a sigil. If you don't know what a sigil is or don't know what a sigil is, a pentagram is a sigil. A sigil can be any design like this, so it doesn't have to be like, well, that's not a pentagram, it's just a bunch of circles and stuff. That's exactly what a sigil is. In witchcraft, you make your own sigil. It's all about law of attraction. It's about manifesting. It's about summoning angels and demons, and you write what you want. Well, actually, somebody's going to explain it. I'll let them explain it. It's not coming from me, and it's not seeming like I'm just making this stuff up. But so here you have a kid going out in a field by himself, laying on a sigil with the words "aliens abduct me," as he has one eye patch on and a demon on his shirt. Imagine if a kid did that today. Imagine if you saw this a cartoon, a colorful cartoon, but your child is going out in a field and he makes a big pentagram on the ground and he lays on it and says, "Aliens abduct me," and he's got a eye patch on and a demon on his shirt. Satan is just waiting for that invitation, right?
Yeah, because kids are going to enact what they see. They're going to go through the motions. They're going to buy the action figures and they're going to mimic these things. And this is a children's movie.
So here's a clip from History Channel about what CE5 is. This
is creepy.
Yeah, this is how people are actually communicating and getting abducted and things.
With demons.
Writer Amy Title explains the process is part of a new trend in UFO circles called CE5.
CE5 is a UFO summoning group. The people who are involved with CE5 use a special app, certain frequencies, and meditation to try to summon UFOs so they can see them.
Okay, so terminology there, right?
Yeah,
summoning. We're going to meditate. We're going to do a religious act, ritual, and pray, and we'll see one. And I've heard it over and over. Demi Lovato did this. The guy who really started this whole CE5 thing was Stephen Greer, and he looks like this scientist guy, and he's pushing this whole thing that we can actually communicate with the aliens if we just meditate. This is all red flags that these are not physical beings from another planet millions of light years away. You just go in a field and meditate, and they're like, "Oh, well, let's go fly down there and show ourselves," just because they're, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because first time I heard you say that, I was like, how is that like not a no-brainer to somebody that these aren't aliens? Because just pretend that the whole alien narrative that we've all been indoctrinated to believe was real, and yeah, they are 10 light years away, and we're just a little speck of light to them, and they're like, "Oh, yep, somebody's meditating in a cornfield."
Yeah, exactly. We need to go show ourselves.
Yeah,
let's waste our gas and all that stuff.
Fly to return to these people.
I was in the middle of having dinner, but somebody's praying. Hold on, let me. Crazy, dude.
Yeah, depressing that people are summoning them, thinking that they're aliens. Like, they have to realize there's a spiritual aspect. You can't summon something by meditating without realizing this is demonic. I mean,
and channeling them. So people that meditate, they will channel them, and there's been whole books written that was channeled by aliens. So some woman is laying on this like chiropractic table, and somebody's transcribing what she's saying, and she's like, "I am from Galacton," and all this stuff, and writing what she's saying. Actually, it's the Book of Ra. It's called the one who did it. It was called R.A. It said the raw truth or something. It was like a pun, but it was R.A., which is, goes perfect with him being raw with the one eye.
Yeah.
CE5 is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and it says right here, just a little bit further than halfway down, meditation and expanded awareness. Practitioners use deep meditation to achieve an altered state of consciousness believed to enhance sensitivity to potential contact with beings who may operate on higher dimensions. So this is what people are practicing. There's an app for it. You can get the CE5 Contact app. It's got over 100,000 downloads. So, this is not something, some corner of, some guy in his basement with a tinfoil hat, like, "Oh, I'm trying to do this thing." Like, this is a growing movement.
Yeah.
And they're propagating it on History Channel. Dude, this isn't like, some random video on the internet. This is like widely accepted stuff.
Yeah. Summoning creatures,
Yeah.
entities is what they're doing with an app.
And so he goes up to this entity
Ooh.
that is made up of, well, I'll show you what it's made up of, but there's this entity that has knowledge. He can present himself to this entity that's in the shape of an Ouroboros, which is an occult symbol, and it tells him, I know the secrets to the universe. And just think about the tree of the knowledge of good and evil with a serpent there, right? And you can come to the serpent and get whatever answer you want. You can get the knowledge, right? And whoops.
Oh, that's creepy.
So that clip, he just said, I contain the secrets of the universe. You didn't hear it, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So what you might have missed was quickly it showed what he's made up of. He's made up of these cards. Well, first, this is what an Ouroboros is. Sometimes it's just a serpent eating its tail in a circle. Other times it's in this figure 8 thing. But it's a very occult symbol, and it has to do with death and rebirth, and just like the phoenix rising out of the ashes, it's all the same symbology. But here's where you see he's made up of these cards, and on each of these cards are sigils again. This is sigil magic. I mean, you can just do a quick YouTube search on, sigil magic, and you'll see. I had a clip in the video. If you go watch the 6-minute video, it shows a woman flipping through pages of her book, and she's just got sigil after sigil, and she's trying to manifest what she wants, whether that's a physical thing or whether it's an entity she's trying to summon. You do it with these sigils, and you make them your own. And so these, I outlined what's actually on the cards, but here, I guess I listened to this guy first. So this is Grant Morrison. He is a very acclaimed Marvel comic writer, DC comic writer. He does all like the Batman and all that stuff. And actually, in one of the documentaries that Little Light put out, there was a video clip of him saying that he was practicing witchcraft. He was practicing magic, and he found out that you can actually, when you draw things, you can manifest them. And so he was drawing a character that looked just like him in a comic book called The Invisibles. And in one of the scenes, the guy breaks out in boils. Well, then he literally broke out in boils after that. So this makes me think of the book of Job, when Satan struck Job with boils. Like, Satan has the power to do this. And especially when you're trying to mess around with witchcraft like this. And he wrote that the character was deathly ill, and he became deathly ill. And he said while he was deathly ill, he saw what looked like Christ come. And and this figure said, I'm not the God of your fathers, but I'm the stone that breaks all hearts and stuff. He was saying he was the Gnostic Christ. And he said, you don't have to die. And he said, well, I don't want to die. What do I have to do to not die? He said, just work for us. Whatever we tell you to write, you write it and spread light to the world. So this guy's whole life depends on, I must create propaganda that's spreading the light to all the youth who are reading it, who's literally being given the message from demons. So that's just to lay the groundwork who this guy is. Now he's at a convention, and he's going to tell you about how sigil magic works and how it came from Aleister Crowley and all these things. And this is what's in this movie. Oh, what's up, bro?
I wanted to say hi real quick. Remember, that's Mikey Jenny. You were saying his name. Say hi, Mikey Jenny.
Hi, Mikey and Jenny.
Hey, how are you?
My water's just full, so I want Mom to get me new water so she can put into the cup.
He's always
put it in the cup. I know,
he needs
dude.
new water.
You're
We all
smart.
need the living water. You're smart, man. I love you. Go back downstairs. Okay?
Mm.
But I want to knock you down.
He wants to knock me down and jump on.
Oh,
His toddler testosterone is full swing.
yeah.
Destruction, it must be.
Well, this is a perfect time to promote the book here.
Yeah.
I was talking about how Christians aren't saying anything. We're not doing anything to combat this type of material. So Satan's out here spending millions of dollars teaching your kids to practice sigil magic and summon demons into their life. And there's no book about spiritual warfare for children. I looked it up. This is the first book that Candid Truth has produced. I hired an illustrator. I hired an author. It's a singer to write all the lyrics or the words. And basically it's a girl who at night, she keeps having these encounters. The first night's an alien. The second night is an angel. It looks like a beautiful angel of light. And he's saying that you can talk to your dead loved ones. And they're earning her trust by saying, oh, you know, no matter what a parent says, just know I'm your friend. I'm giving you a toy. And you can talk to your dead loved ones who are always around here watching. And then a red dragon, because they got movies like My Pet Dragon and stuff, right? But Christians aren't talking about it. And so the dragon's playing the board games with the little girl. But then things in her life start going wrong. Her dog gets sick. Her friends are being mean. And so she finally goes to her mom. You know, she's basically not praying or reading her Bible. And now she goes to her mom and says, you know, all these things are going wrong. And her mom's like, oh, you need to read the Bible. And she turns to Ephesians 6 and teaches her about God's armor and how it protects you from Satan's tricks. And so she begins to pray. And when she's praying, now you can see they're not nice. They're coming up on her and mean. And she turns around with the full armor of God on, and now they're terrified. And she says, now that God opened my eyes, I could see through all their lies. They were devils in disguise. I told them, leave in the name of Jesus Christ. And they have to flee out the window. And so she says, I choose to wear God's armor every single day. And every night before I sleep, I get on my knees and pray. And it teaches you about the full armor of God. It teaches you how to memorize the scripture about the full armor of God. And there's even a board game that is a trivia about the book, so that you can actually know that the kids are catching the lesson. And that book is completely free. If you go to candidtruth.org, there's a link at the top that says merch. And in that, on the first item will be the book. Completely free, only pay shipping. So you're paying media mail. One book costs $5 to ship, but you can get like 50 books for $10. I think it's 10. Yeah, for $10. And so people are ordering these by the 50, 100. I had 2,000 in January. I'm down to 40 now, but I just ordered 2,000 that are coming, and they'll be here in like 2 weeks. So pass this book out to every kid you know, every kid at your church, anyone, because sorry, I keep looking over at this big fly over here. It's like a deer fly or something.
The plagues we're talking about. I know, dude. The things we're talking about, like stop him, send the fly.
So yeah, that's the little shout out for the book, because I don't see where Christians are afraid to talk about this topic. You don't hear preachers in the pulpits saying the truth about aliens and how Satan's trying to deceive the world and how he's going after your kids.
Yeah, and these children are in a battlefield they don't even know they're in. We didn't know we were in spiritual warfare when we were watching the indoctrination we were watching. They don't know it. And as parents, we do have to take steps to plant seeds and get a strong foundation for these children, you know, about creation in general, not just who they are, what they live on, but the spiritual warfare aspect. And that's really cool. I've honestly never seen a book that has a spiritual warfare aspect for children like that, where it talks about those things that the world's going to be promoting to them. They're going to see it. Yeah. So it's good for them to know what it is. I'm very blessed that my dad, when I was younger, talked to me about that, because I was real big into the paranormal, aliens, ghosts, and things like that. You know, watching Unsolved Mysteries, they really programmed us to be like in love with these things and being glued to the TV, and Ghostbusters, you know, Casper, all those things. And my dad, when he was born again, was like, you know, those things are demonic. We're not supposed to talk to the dead. They are demons. Don't do it. They're, you know, and he really shed a lot of light on that when I was at a very influential age. But so many people don't have that option, you know, or that guidance in their life. So we need to really make resources like that available to whoever we can get. Yeah.
And it's purposely like doesn't look, you know, overtly Christian or anything, to hopefully appeal to, because there's one in the local library here. There's 2 local libraries that it's in Jasper and Whitwell. But you know, I'm hoping that some kid will just see it and be like, oh, cool, like she's wearing armor. It looks like some, you know, she looks like a warrior, and then you get, you know, oh, cool, aliens or whatever. And then you get to the end, you're like, oh, wait, these things could be mean, and I can actually make them leave. and there's power in the Bible. And so that's the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a bomb dropped at the end, the truth bomb.
Yeah, that's what used to annoy me about the movies when I found out about the power, to cast out demons and all that. And then you watch those movies, which I shouldn't have been watching, but they were movies about possession. And back when I would watch horror films, and I'm thinking, why don't they just cast out the demon? What are they doing, talking to it and doing all these things like
Right.
the Messiah did? And it would be a short film.
Yeah, right. The kid's laying on sigils, and the aliens come, and he said, I wrote a comic about when I was abducted by aliens in 1994 in Kathmandu. And he said, and the reason I was abducted by aliens in 1994 in Kathmandu is because I went to Kathmandu to get abducted by aliens. And he said, you do this and it will happen. He said, if you draw these sigils and go out to purposely be abducted, they will show up. And this movie's literally telling you, make a sigil, lay in it, call the aliens abduct me, and they will come. And guess what's going to happen to millions of kids if they do what this movie says? I mean, this is the biggest propaganda piece. Like all the other movies were about, an alien crash landed on Earth and the kid was kind of afraid of the alien, but then he warmed up to the alien and then he helped him get home or something. Now it's, I'm going to go out into a field and do a occult ritual and call the aliens to come get me. I mean, this is where we're at now. And
That's
dark. Millions of parents are not even going to bat an eye. They're going to be like, oh, that was a cute movie.
Yep. Because it will be. It'll be packaged real adorable. Like, look at the cute little glowworm creature.
Yeah. And so if you remember what he was laying in and what those symbols looked like and what the symbols on the card looked like, you'll see right here on the left are the cards that were in the movie, and on the right are some examples of sigils when you look it up. And here's what he was laying in. Wow. And here's the examples of real sigils on the right. And so when you look up magic and you see that right here in black words, amongst all the blue words, there's a black one that says sigils. This is, I think the website, this isn't Wikipedia. This is the website's called like occultpractice.com or something. And they're showing you examples of sigils. This comes from the Lesser Key of Solomon. I mean, this is a very dark occult book, and they're showing you these symbols that are in this cartoon. And it says a sigil is a type of symbol used in magic. The term used refers to a pictorial signature of a spirit, such as an angel, demon, or deity. In modern usage, especially in the context of chaos magic, a sigil refers to a symbolic representation of the practitioner's desired outcome. So it's used for law of attraction, manifestation, and also summoning an angel or demon. It's the signature of a spirit. And it literally tells you, this isn't a Christian website. They're telling you, such as an angel, demon, or deity. And then it says, the term sigil derives from the Latin sigillum, meaning seal. In medieval magic, the term sigil is commonly used to refer to occult signs which represented various angels and demons which the practitioner might summon. So wow. I'm not just making something out of nothing. You have a movie about a kid laying on a sigil and he summons a deity. He summons a demon because that's how you do it.
Wow.
I mean, this should anger any parent that they're teaching children witchcraft in such a blatant way and in this colorful cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like when it's more open, like the Satan after school thing that they were doing, they're trying to, these atheists or Satanists were trying to push back on having 10 Commandments monuments. So they're like, well, we're going to have a Baphomet monument erected and we're going to come into your school. Since you guys have a prayer club in the school and there's separation of church and state, we're going to create a book, an activity book about Satan. And it's going to be called Satan After School. And parents are up in arms about that. But now you have this and it's like, oh, let's take the whole family. Let's take the whole church. Because it's better disguised, I guess. somewhat. To me, it's so open and clear. But so here he is. I used an AI generator to show what if it looked like that. What if it was simply the only thing different was it was a familiar symbol, a familiar satanic symbol. You know, you would never go for it on the right, but because it's a more a lesser known kind of sigil magic. But Aleister Crowley, he was the one who was talking about how to do this. What's on his hat? The Eye of Ra, another connection to the movie. And he's teaching about sigil magic that will summon this being right here, the being that's on Elio's t-shirt.
Yep. A demon.
And a demon. And so now if you go to Disney World, you can enter this whole thing, like the doors open, it looks like a portal, and this says Elio's Guide to an Intergalactic Adventure.
What?
Isn't it crazy? When I hear that word guide, I'm thinking guided meditation, spirit guides and all that, you know.
Yeah.
He's going to guide you. And look, the doors are showing, they have the stickers all around the windows that make it look like you're being beamed up into the UFO.
Wow.
That's the exact screenshot that he was beamed up into the UFO. So you walk through the beam. I believe all this stuff. We look at this and we're like, oh, come on. But the spirit world is saying, look, they're entertaining themselves with being abducted by aliens. They're entertaining themselves with demons. And so when you willfully walk through that door that looks like you're being abducted, I believe you're giving access. I believe you're giving permission for Satan to have permission in your life. And then you follow these signs. It's almost like you're going through an interactive Bible study for the devil.
Jeez.
It's like, here you can let the aliens know. Just replace every time you hear the word alien with what it really is, a fallen angel or a demon. Here you can let the demons know you're ready for the ultimate adventure. Oh, and don't forget to smile. And you can take your picture on a sigil that says aliens abduct me.
Where's
and
this?
Parents are going to do it. This is at Disney World or Disneyland.
No, my goodness. Wow.
And so, dude, I know no parent is like, there's no discernment anymore. Every parent's going to be like, oh, this is so fun. Get on I want to take a picture. You know, they want to capture the moment. Even if the kid doesn't want to do it, they're probably going to say, come on, get in front of the sigil so I can take the picture. And then, oh, go over here and look like you're being abducted. Now put your arms out. Like, yay, be happy. They're abducting you.
My goodness.
And it says, adventures are way more amazing with a partner. Oh, right. This is so crazy, dude. When you can see through the deception, it's like, oh, you want a real adventure? Wait till you have a demon friend. Yeah. That's me and my best friend.
Yeah.
Huh?
Also bringing in the space indoctrination as well on top of it.
Well, they have to, or we won't fall for the final deception that Satan has planned.
Yeah.
So all this is space propaganda. And so look, you can take a picture with me and my demon buddy with teeth. I mean, he doesn't even look friendly.
Scorpion tail creature there. Yeah.
And then it says, there are so many cool demons. I mean, aliens hanging out at the Communiverse. We're a community. Come join the community of demons. Zoom over and say hi. Here they are.
Wow.
Yeah. Come take pictures with the demons.
Disembodied spirits. Wow.
And this is the last clip here. Maybe you're familiar with Roger Morneau. Maybe some people in the audience aren't. He was in a demon worshiping cult before he became a Christian, came out of that. This video was shot in the early 90s, and he's recounting something that happened 40 years prior when he said the high priest of this demon worshiping cult was telling me about Satan's plan to deceive the world. And he said, they're going to do it in a unique manner. They're going to come as aliens from another world and all this stuff. So check this video out.
The priest said that as the times on this planet gets more and more difficult, and calamities of all kinds are striking the planet more and more frequently, demon spirits are going to impress people with the importance of Sunday sacredness. And he said it's going to be done in a unique manner, because he says demon spirits will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxies that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the impending destruction of the planet unless something seriously proper is done to avoid it.
So what he's talking about is that he said there's going to be a time of much calamity in our world. Like our world's going to be in chaos. We got COVID. We got earthquakes daily. We got tornadoes out here, man. Tornadoes coming like crazy. I mean, the world is going to be so chaotic that people are ready for some kind of savior. And then here come the quote unquote aliens who have been watching us ever since the first atomic bomb. That's what they said, that the first sightings recorded really were right after the atomic bomb was dropped. And so they think, oh, we actually, signaled them and they came and they're trying to protect us from destroying ourselves. And they said they've disarmed nukes and all this stuff. And they're telling us this is not conspiracy theory stuff. You can watch U.S. congressional hearings and see military personnel saying UFOs are real. And we've been talking to non-human intelligences since the 1930s. We've been communicating with demonic beings since the 30s, but they're not telling you that because I think they're deceived themselves. I mean, I think some of the way higher ups might know what's going on. But so what I believe, according to Bible prophecy, it says that 3 unclean spirits like frogs are the spirit. They're working. They're miracle working demons. They're working miracles and signs and wonders. And they're going to the kings of the earth. It says that they're the spirits of devils working miracles. They go to the kings of the earth and of the whole world and gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. So we know that Christ is coming soon. All the signs are showing it. Now our military has a space force. We're pointing weapons towards the heavens. We have these beings that we're talking to, some kind of non-human intelligences. We don't know what they are, but they're communicating with the militaries of the world. We got this big push to become a one world. Look, we need a one world currency. We need a one world government. We need to all come together, United Nations, right? We're preparing for the last days. We're preparing to fight against Christ. All the propaganda is saying it too. Look, we need to put aside our differences. We need to defend Earth from one tyrannical threat that's coming. And so I believe when quote unquote first contact happens, the military is going to say, look, we've been talking to these beings. We've been trying to hide it because we don't want to cause chaos, but we can't hide it any longer. These beings are our friends. Look, they could have, if they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it hundreds of years ago, but they haven't. They're coming in peace, and they're coming to help us fight against an evil alien invader that's going to take over Earth. And the only way we can survive is if we team up with them. And so you'll have humanity teaming up with demons in a battle against the second coming of Christ. And so what he's saying is these beings are going to come in a time of calamity. They're going to talk about the importance of Sunday sacredness.
That's
because
crazy.
I believe, that there's going to be a one world religion. That's what the Bible says. That he's going to call us all to worship a certain way. And I think this social credit system and all this, like if you don't go to the one world church, your credit score is going to go down. You're not going to be able to buy food.
Yeah, this reminds me again of the stuff of Rome, which if you don't know history and what the Bible talks about with what made the dragon angry, it was the people keeping the commandments and having the testimony of the Messiah. And you have those two things making a major comeback right now. Those two things have been separated for the most part throughout time with the Inquisitions and the things that Rome did, making Sunday the day that you had to worship. You could not rest on the Sabbath. And so there's a reason people are coming back to the commandments and having the testimony of the Messiah, which is something that is a powerful combination that made the dragon angry back then. What did the dragon, do? Whatever you think the dragon is, what did they do? Well, you look at the time where believers were slaughtered in the largest amounts. It was back in Rome when they were being tormented. And now this dragon has given his power to another beast to do this, which I believe it's going to be enacted worldwide. Because this new beast has, how many heads does it have? The new beast that's
7 heads and
7 heads, like there's 7 continents. Like, I don't know, whatever you want to look at these heads as, it's getting power from someone who was murdering believers for
Yeah.
keeping commandments. And so it's going to be the same type of deal where coming out of Babylon is for a reason. How did they get Daniel in trouble? They said, well, we're not going to be able to trick this guy unless we use his law against him, basically. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And so just like they did with Joseph in Egypt, him keeping the commandments is what got him in trouble. Joseph.
Yeah. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yeah, all of them.
They could have, there's two ways to take the mark of the beast, which the mark of the beast is about worship. It's not technology. God's not damning people to hell for a form of currency. The currency will be used against you. It's, if you don't worship, you won't be able to buy or sell. We're going to cut your bank account off. If you don't worship this way, they're also going to imprison you and behead you. Those are the things. People get so hung up on the verse that says, if you don't take the mark, you can't buy or sell. And they're like, oh, there it is, microchip or whatever. That type of technology is going to be how they enforce this form of worship. But you can resist a microchip at all costs and still get the mark of the beast, because it's all about worship. It's about worshiping God in spirit and in truth. And so it says that only those who survive this thing are those who keep the commandments of God, have the faith and testimony of Jesus Christ, and only a remnant, only the elect are the ones that overcome. And so what I think is crazy about all the Christian movies like the Left Behind series and stuff is they make it look like we're waiting for this one man to come on the scene and he just hates Christians. He's tearing up the Bible and he's killing Christians in the street. It's not going to look like that at all. It's going to look so close to the truth. It's like the Pope, when the Pope was on stage saying all religions are just another path to God. It's like different languages to God. That's what the one world religion is going to look like. It's going to look like acceptance and tolerance and coexist. And, oh, you're a Buddhist, good. And you're a Muslim, good. And you worship Maitreya. We're all worshiping God. We're all on the same path. All roads lead to Rome, or all roads lead to God. That's what it's going to look like. Peace and safety. When it says peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon us. So don't fall for the trick that, well, this can't be the fake church, because this is about love, and Satan, he's not about love. Look, man, you talk to a New Ager, they're going to say this is the most peace and love I've ever had in my life. They're some of the most giving and loving people out there, but we know it's a deception. And I believe that Satan is going to manifest as an angel of light, and he's going to be doing miracles out there. And if you think, no, Satan can't heal, he can't do that, well, go talk to a New Ager who's healing themselves with crystals and Reiki and all this stuff. Satan has power. He's an angel, and maybe he has afflicted someone and they've been afflicted their whole life, and he can remove that affliction and make it look like a healing. But what we're going to see is so supernatural and crazy that we're going to end up rethinking everything, because now we're faced with something we've never seen in our life before. And so if you're not grounded on thus saith the Lord, like the word of God and the word of God alone, you're going to fall for the deception. That's why he said, when they say he's in the secret chamber, like, don't go. Don't even look at it, because it's so deceptive. You will fall for it. It's going to be a supernatural being doing miracles and signs and wonders. Don't even look at it. Only believe what the word of God says, and understand prophecy, that what do you say it all the time, right? The fake comes first.
Yeah, that's what I got from Mr. His name is Dennis. I just got to meet with him the other day, and he always says, the fake comes first. Remember that. And I'm like, it's so simple when he says it that way. Like, and that I didn't know that as a child. I did not understand that. I really was kind of in the left behind mindset. I was terrified, thinking that all my friends that were righteous were going to disappear. Like I did not realize what was going to happen and unfold in these last days, days of Noah.
Well, that's all I got. But the character's name is the sun god Sunday, and we just heard this occultist from, dude, he was talking about something 40 years before the 90s, how that's the high priest was saying Satan is going to, like, he was a demon worshiper, and he's saying Satan is going to deceive the world by pretending to be aliens from another world during a time of great calamity. He's going to say that you have to keep Sunday, and I mean, it's just crazy. And now we have this character.
I'd never seen that. I don't think I'd ever seen that before. I've got to share that with my wife. That is extremely
man.
interesting insights. These people that are out of that, the deep level people that get out of it and survive and are protected to say the things they say. Even people like Werner von Braun, you know, he knew about this. You could see that he knew about it in his writings and his books about Mars, which now I'm seeing is so demonic. I knew it was demonic. I know it's a deception, but I didn't realize until I started looking into Rome and studying Revelation that Mars was the father of Romulus and Remus, the two boys.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ones that eventually, just like Moses, end up in the water and in a basket. You know, they're demigods because their dad is Mars, and Mars is the god of war. They're trying to bring us back to Mars. And you see, you know, Buzz Aldrin with he has like so many different shirts that say "Bring yourself back to Mars." Only they don't say it that way. And like they're trying to bring us back to Mars. And I found a coin the other. No, I didn't find a coin. I found an image of a coin from Rome. That was a Diocletian coin. Emperor Diocletian was this guy who had people. He tried to eliminate Christianity. He tried to eliminate believers, the ones that were doing the things that make the dragon angry. You know, keeping the commandments, having the testimony, putting them to death at rates that had never been done around 300 AD, somewhere around there. And this coin on the back says, it's got, you know, of course, Diocletian on the front. Flip it over, it's got Mars on the back, and it says Mars Victor. Basically, Mars is victorious. So they were using him. He was like, when they were getting all their battle victories, they were giving glory to him, not the creator of heaven and earth. And so this stuff is dark. It's heartbreaking to see what they're doing to our children. We have to know that we're in this warfare. Warn people, bring these things up to them. They may not know it. I wouldn't have caught this just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I'd have been like, we're going to see a movie, guys. There's another animated film, you know, like we would have missed these things. And so it's a blessing to see them. At the same time, we can save our own children, but it's also saddening because we have so many out there who are missing out on things like this and just having their children possibly mimic these things, going out in their backyard and pretending to be doing these things, getting chalk, you know, drawing out the things that they've seen and laying there, and they're going to mimic it. That's the sad truth about this type of film. And Disney will promote this like you wouldn't believe. Like you were showing, I did not realize they had that stuff already set up like at their park.
Yeah.
Go and stand against the sigil. Like this crazy, is not right. This is what they're doing. It's stuff that's real. It's real spiritual warfare, and we are seeing it in these interesting last days, trying to endure to the end. I can't wait to share this stuff with my wife. She'll be like blown away, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that.
Wow. Yeah, so as a reminder, if you guys go to candidtruth.org, it's a free resource. I'm not trying to make any money off these. They've already been paid for. Well, the first run was paid for. The second run, when this movie came out, I was like, you know what? I'm putting it on the credit card. I'm acting in faith. I know God will provide. He always does. And so I got the second run that are going to be here in probably a week or two. If you guys feel led to give to the ministry to help support that, you can. There's a donate button on there and everything too. So, and definitely support Josh's channel because, man, you're doing a great work exposing. Because Satan had to attack creation to get us to even believe this garbage anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when you're coming out and showing the truth about creation, people are like, that's a distraction, and they're so triggered by it. But it's like a lot of people just want to say, if it's not a salvation issue, we don't need to argue about it or whatever. But we know that the last deception is a salvation issue. Yeah. And so if Satan is coming on the scene as this visitor from another world and he's going to, enforce this form of worship and everything, that's a salvation issue. But you could never fall for it if we understood where we live. And
exactly.
So it's important work you're doing, man.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. We just finished our first ever historic, I feel like this is going to be one of many years of CreationStandard, which is an online biblical earth and life science class, or classes. We have 4 classes we offer right now, and we may have a surprise announcement pretty soon. I'm hoping to talk about
cool.
The future plans. Yeah, we'll talk after this, but some big announcements to come. But make sure you guys are supporting Mikey Jenny and his ministry, the things he's doing, the resources he's providing, and if you want to support CreationStandard, please, if you feel led to do so. We have a huge vision of what we want to continue doing, but hearing the testimony of the children as we closed out, we let them share testimonies and talents and things that they had, and so many of them saying that they just feel like they have so much stronger faith now. That starting out they had questions and they, but now it's like they're like, there's no way we could go back to believing what the world says. It's so ridiculous when you actually put it to the test. And we use real science. We don't just say, hey, just believe this because it's in the Bible.
Right.
Here's what the Bible says. Here's what the world says. And we're going to put it to the test. And so our earth and life science classes do that. And with life science, we're destroying evolution, or the Father is with his provable truth of creation. Same thing with the earth science. People can already see that things aren't adding up with what the world's telling us about the world and the Big Bang model and all that. But yeah, it does add in and play a part to these deceptions in the last days. So you never know when your children are going to be exposed to something that could be very harmful if they don't have a strong foundation. So that's what it's all about.
I have a question about Creation Standard. I know it's mainly for homeschool parents that are using it as a curriculum. What about people that their kids are in school, but they want them to have something to study like afterwards? You don't have recordings, like they have to be in a live Zoom?
No, it's actually, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. It's something you can watch at your own pace. We upload every single lesson. And so all the lessons are there. And this upcoming September, when we start back September 2nd, I'm wanting to have books available for all 4 classes. I know that's ambitious because I want to get them rolled out so people can order them before we start and have them on day 1. So I'm like, that's overly ambitious. I may, for some of the classes, just have first semester, but I'm trying to get right now our earth science classes done. And I'm already on unit 2 in one of the books at the circumnavigation area. And so lots of work being done right now. We didn't stop. It's not like, it's not like the old days where you get summer off as a teacher.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything now until, August. It's something that we're blessed. The Most High has given me a passion for this to be a servant, be like the Messiah, serving people. And it's something you just can't turn off. You can't go, I'm going to go back to being a regular person now. You've asked to be used, and when you're used, it is work, but it's a blessing. And he's showing us a lot. And so we've been blessed to share it. And I thought with Creation Standard, I would just be teaching what I already knew. And in reality, since I threw away the script of being an educator, because I've been an educator for almost 17 years at a public school setting, when you throw away the script that's called standards, because that's what it is. It's something you have to stick to. You can't deviate. They tell you. I mean, you can just risk your job. And so we threw away the script, and the Holy Spirit has taught us so much this year. There's just so many things. We could not contain it in a book. It's like powerful stuff. So yeah, it's definitely been a journey. And so we will actually end. I have a commercial when we end, a little breakdown. Hopefully it'll play out. I'm learning some of the StreamYard things. They let you have an exiting video when you leave.
Cool.
They said,
thank you guys so much for being here, man. It was such a blessing. Thank you for having me on, Josh. And I just pray it was a seed planted that somebody will stumble upon this video and be like, whoa, okay, I'm going to really be careful what I show my kids.
Yeah, amen. It was a lot. You did a lot of work breaking this down. You showed me some things that I wasn't seeing with how dark this was. I thought, yeah, okay, it's dark, outer space, demons, but it's way darker because so many of us
summoning demons.
Yeah, we didn't grow up understanding about spiritual warfare. We were led to believe that the demonic stuff was just hocus pocus. But no, there's a realness to it. That's why the Messiah spent a lot of time casting out demons, and they knew who he was. Something that a lot of Christianity doesn't realize is they knew who he was more so than many of them know. But yeah, great breakdown of all those things. You guys are a major blessing. We will be back soon. Thank you to all of our moderators out there doing a excellent job. True soldiers, fellow helpers out there, supporters, you know who you are. Your rewards will not be lost. You guys are helping us fight this battle, bringing people to our Father's truth. It is powerful, changing lives. So big thanks, Mikey, Jenny.
Thank you,
again,
bro.
Make sure you support them. He stepped out on faith about a year and I don't know, was it a year ago?
Going on a year, yeah, about 11 months now.
Starting Candid Truth with his lovely wife, Aubrey, another true soldier who is doing a lot of damage. When these guys partnered up, I was like, oh my goodness. A lot of demons went out of business, lost their jobs. Yeah. So powerful
Amen.
stuff. Check out their channel. I linked, I believe, a video in the description. It was his short breakdown of all this, but it'll take you to their YouTube.
Yeah, that's a 6-minute video you can share with people, and they don't have to watch. If they're a person that's not going to watch this hour and almost 2-hour video, then share the 6-minute video with them.
Yeah, that's a good one to share, and you can break it up into those shorts, or do what people do to our videos, just like re-upload it, but have yourself just pointing at it, and you'll get 1 million views. I don't know how that works, but it's like, hey, there's my video with 10 million views, and somebody's just going,
that's awesome.
I'm gonna start doing that to my own videos. Like, check that out.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Well, awesome. You guys are the best. We shall see you guys next time. Stay humble in spite of being royalty, children of the Most High. As a science teacher and a creationist, I've had the privilege of finding creative ways to teach children the truth about creation without bias and looking at all the evidence, and it's been a blessing. However, I've also witnessed the ways that science is being taught and how it is specifically aimed at going against the words of the Most High and leading children away from His truth. And so, to combat these lies, there's something we can all do. It's to come together and create classes that provide an experience that allow people to look at the evidence on both sides and draw their own conclusions. And so we're going to be doing that with 4 classes, 2 of them geared towards the biblical creation model, and 2 of them based on life science or biology. And we will be going over all of the evidence for evolution and the young earth versus the old earth, all of the science out there, putting it to the test, proving all things. So join us as we replace indoctrination with the provable truth of creation at CreationStandard.com.